What we want to do now is, you can see here where we've got that brightness at the root. We want to really shadow this area down here, but keep that brightness around the face there. I've shampooed. We've now got towel dried hair, which this means Shades EQ. I'm using Redken Shades EQ, which is manufacturers say to apply to dry hair. This is going to give you the best results, as in the saturation of product. So I'm using a level 7, so it's 7 GB. Because the hair is wet, it's going to dilute the product, so it isn't really going to give us a true level 7 result. That's something to bear in mind. If you wanted to completely knock out the highlight, you'd maybe go half a shade darker than the natural color. This will give you more pigment. This will sort of counteract the fact that the hair is damp, and it's going to affect the efficiency of the product. I used this brush, Tension Removal Brush by Sheila Stotts. I love this brush because it doesn't drag color down. So the way that the bristles work, it doesn't drag color, so it will blend without dragging. And there's a certain way that I go in and brush the color down. That means that it will get stuck on the lip of the brush if anything. I keep a wet towel here, and I can always, in between blending, wipe the brush clean. I'm gonna just tap out the roots here. So in my application, I'm going in like a pie section as well. We want to make sure, if I was going horizontal, I'm going to create a line with my color. So just by my sections, taking them on angles, it is going to help with the blend. It's also going to keep highs and lows. If we had done fresh highlights in here, it will just break up that line that we've put in. So you can either go directly on an angle and just go straight down like this. You want to be really liberal with this product as well. So when I first started using Shades EQ, I was a bit tight. And then I would find that highlights were still a little bit translucent, and they were sort of glowing because they hadn't really fully saturated. So you want it to be very glossy. If, say, I had a client who was like below a natural base 6, and they were quite dark, and we were taking the highlight who was maybe it had lifted to a 9 or a 10, and we were really having to deposit quite dark, I would dry the hair off. That way it's going to give more longevity. In our little peak here, I want to get rid of that little blonde that we've put in. Having a little look as well at my hairline and what I want to create. So I do want to keep a little bit of lightness around the face. So you can just do a little bit of a tap there. Don't want that blonde piece there. So if there's anything that looks a bit too strong now, it's going to still look strong when we dry it. So just pulling back on my hairline and seeing I've just got a shimmer. Still got all the depth there, but just a shimmer of blonde, which is going to be really nice. And then through the fringe, I'm just tapping. It's going to mean that I'm keeping more lightness there. I'm not dragging it down quite as much. This is where you personalize the color, so that's up to you really what you want to do. And I'm just going to tap back off the face. Also say to my clients, when I leave this hair out, just to be really careful not to tuck it back or push it back. Sometimes I'll put Olaplex number 2, or you can put conditioner on the ends. That just creates a barrier. We just want to let them know, because they're not aware, that we don't want to get any of this color on our lightness around the face, because that would obviously not be great, would it? Kind of cross over. Every sort of second section I bring down, I'm going to blend down. I find if you blend a finer section, like too thin, you drag the color down a bit too much. So I'll just start by getting all the knots out the end. You can naturally then drag down a bit further towards the crown, creating like that teardrop. If I'm holding straight down, I'm going to pull more product down. I'm also going to create more of a line. If I'm elevating, like with cutting, or when we're putting color in, we want softness and to blur a line, I'll elevate. So I'm lifting out. I go in with my brush. So I sort of watch me go in like this, in, and turn. Can you see how I got the product on there? And I just wipe that off. So I'm going to go in one side and come out the other. Always referring to my mirror as well, having a look around the face. So then mimicking on that side as well. Just keeping in mind how far you're dragging down. But again, it's we don't want too much symmetry in the color. You can keep out a veil, so you could like weave out this hairline, clip it out if you wanted to keep a lot of blonde around the face. I just feel that it's a stripe, a highlight. So by breaking up the stripe and just picking out pieces, I'm going to create a much more diffused natural look. I'll show you when we go to blow dry. So you can see now, like if I'm looking in the mirror, I've got that blonde coming right up to the root. If your client wanted that contrast and she really wanted to see all the brightness from the root, then I would keep that. In this case, I want it a little bit rootier. So what I'm going to do is apply down, which will then mean that we sort of soften off this little tiny triangle here. So it'll be a little bit rootier, but we're going to keep the blonde on the ends. So I just apply the product and I sort of push down. And I'm sort of feathering up. So I'm getting that softness there. But it is just going to knock out and sort of shadow that tiny root area, and that gives a really beautiful blend. It means that when she's starting, or when her fringe is just natural and moving, it's not going to be a stripe. It's going to soften that area there. And again, I just reiterate to my client, please be careful not to push back or touch. You know, we just don't want to create any of this color on the blonde, and you need to let people know that because they don't know that that's going to darken the blonde. I think for the sake of your color, all the love that you put into it, it's okay to say, you know, please be careful of that, let you know,